Hey, okay, so I wanted to jump on here really quick and to just kind of prepare you guys that this is my first video that I have done in a really long time, like this anyway, and that they will get better. And I will promise that I will do my nails and my makeup and everything further down the line. Right now, it's just been crazy. I've just been getting back into my room and creating. And yeah, so this is what you get in this video, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you learn something. All right, well, okay, enjoy. Bye. So what you'll need for this is a sponge, or you can use a paintbrush. I just find the sponges, it absorbs a lot in the sponge, and the coverage is great for it. I do want to show you guys that I ended up using a regular paintbrush because these little nooks and crannies that are along the edges here, it just did a little bit better with because the bristles can kind of go down into those crevices. So I did want to show you guys how I'm covering the edges of this with this chalk paint. So I took the heat gun and I tried to dry it, or make it dry a little bit faster. And if you didn't want to fully cover it, like of course you want to do a little bit better job right here, but on the edges it almost, because that silver comes through and it kind of looks gray, and it has a very pretty color to it. Let's make sure that you can see it. See, it has like a grayish tint because the silver's, coming through it. So that's really pretty if you didn't really want to go any further around the edges. You just want to clean this up because the flowers that I'm putting on it won't cover the whole surface. Okay, so at this point, I'm really loving it. I did go back over the second coat around the edges. I'm still not loving this point, but you can kind of see the vision as where it's heading. Okay, so I did want to show you a technique that I put on this just to give it a little bit more textured. And I'm using the terracotta. This is Adobe White. And let's see, where am I at? Okay, I really like this stuff. It has I don't know if you can tell at the top, it has like a texture to the paint. I use this a lot in other projects, especially when I'm doing like flowers and things like that. I love, love, love this paint. There's a couple of colors that I want to try, but this is my first one that I tried and I loved it. But I did want to go back and make some strokes of the terracotta paint on here just to give it a little bit, I don't know, my brain was like, do it, and I'm doing it. And it actually turned out really nice, and it does give you a little bit more texture, to it, on top of the chalk being there. So my next step now is, I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I kind of like the stroke work. I'm not gonna really be like a stickler about, oh, I see the strokes, in the paint. I kind of want to go for that because this is kind of like a French vintage like theme that it's developing into. So I kind of want to stay with that, but I want to tone it down. I want it to look a little bit more older than something that's new. So I'm gonna take this is that Spice Tan. This is Delta Paint, which is another one that I've used for many, many, many years and I love. And I'm going to kind of just whitewash around the edges so this brown will like dip down into some of those crevices and to age it a bit. So yeah, I will be back and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so you can kind of see how I did one side and the other side I didn't. So you can kind of see the difference of what I'm doing. Now, how I got this is it takes very, very little paint, even though I have a lot on this is very watery paint anyway, so it came out everywhere. So this is what it looks like on my, sorry, I'm using like old Christmas plates. These are great to recycle. Like, I mean, usually we'll eat on them, but I also use them as little paint palettes and stuff. But I'm literally getting it very, very wet. So I'm just dipping my paintbrush in the water, and I'm literally just picking up a little bit of that, and you want the consistency to be almost like water. And you want to keep your brush with a lot of water in it. And you can just go back and dip back into the water and carry it down. Here, and yeah, this side didn't pick up too much. I see it running, so I want to just take my cotton ball real quick and just, I don't want anything puddling up right there on the sides. Doesn't matter if some of it comes up, but I really want it to stay in the crevices on the side. And you can dry it. This side was a little bit more dry, so you're gonna see it a little bit better, but that's how I'm getting it to look aged around the edges there. I really love it because it's not too much. I don't want it to be like real brown. It just looks like it's been, you know, sitting around for a hot minute. So yeah. All right, let me just get this side finished and I'll come back. I also want to show you guys the reason why I had the cotton ball there. This is a love-hate relationship with this technique, but I kind of like it, and I haven't found any other way of doing it. And the reason why it's a love-hate relationship is that sometimes I can get the cotton furries or whatever on my project, and it's just a hassle. But remember, I like things that challenge me. I don't know why, but they give me really good results, okay? So say if I went around the edges and I put too much brown in it, and I'm like, oh, you know, I don't want to go back and keep moving it down because I really just don't want it on any more brown on the project. So what I did, and you can see here, is I would go with my cotton ball and I would soak up the water. You know, I'm moving the cotton ball like around in my fingers like this, and I'm picking up the extra paint that's on there. So I, you know, and if there's a spot, because this is not like the chalk paint or whatever, this is just acrylic paint. A lot of times if it dries, or it's not really dry, but it's like almost dry, you can take more water and go back over it with water to pick up more of the color off of it with the cotton ball. So it just kind of, you know, if you're wondering like why this side now doesn't look as brown, is because I went back with water and I picked it up with the cotton ball and I liked it. Okay, let's continue. And now I'm just gonna dry it off. I'm just gonna kind of look and see. I will have to do the back. I'm not gonna age the back. I'm just gonna, you know, paint the back. And we'll see what kind of flowers we're gonna put on it next, okay? I'm super excited. I love how it's coming out so far. I'm definitely loving it. I think there's too much brown here, but I think the leaves are gonna cover that anyway, so I'm not even gonna go back and worry about that. Okay, so now I'm ready to put my wax on. I'm going to put my wax on the front before turning it around, painting it. Yeah, it's me we're talking about here. I'm going to use the wax that goes on it first. And this is a trick that I picked up on my pumpkins, because when I would use the wax and I would use like the foam brush, it would make really like weird streak marks when I was using it. And the paintbrush is great, but it just kind of took too long, and it still gave me a brush stroke look. Now, I don't want the wax to look very strokey. I don't even know if that's a word, we're just going with it. So I experimented a lot of times with you know, different brushes to see what I could do. I tried sponging it on. I tried all different kind of techniques. This is a very, very soft. It almost feels like silky. I know that there's some makeup brushes out there that's a little bit more bristle, but you want the very extra fine, soft brushes. And you just want to get cheap ones, okay? Like, don't go get the expensive ones and everything, because they're gonna get all messed up and everything, you know, using them after a while. So just FYI. I really like how this looks. It does pick up a lot of the paint when I put it in there, but I kind of like that I don't have to keep going back for more. But I just dumped my whole entire brush right down in there. I don't know where my brain will really take this project, because I feel like it's not even really me that's creating it. And I just whatever is today I wake up and I'm like, you know what? I gotta do this. I don't know why I have to do this. Because if you would have asked me a couple of months ago, I was getting ready to set my whole entire craft room on fire. Not literally, but just, you know, metaphorically. All right, so I finished the trays. I got the wax on. The wax is dry. I haven't waxed this one yet because I think I'm gonna paint another one, a third one. This one I only have enough to kind of do one. And because I've been trying to go through some old projects that have been kind of laying around, and I'm gonna repurpose this one. So I'm actually going to rip those flowers off of that canvas, and I think I'm gonna put them on the trays and have two smaller projects with that instead of one big one. At this point, I think I'm just gonna start gluing, and worst case, I can just, you know, pop them off. I did take a few of the leaves off of the vines just for extras, and I can make a small one. I'm gonna start gluing literally like this onto the platter. This is a point where these come in handy. You don't really want to burn your fingers. My problem with this is that I like doing in odd numbers. I have an odd number of roses, and I thought about just doing the roses and then going in with the smaller flowers. I could, if I don't use those bigger flowers, I could go in with some pink, but I'm just not too sure about these. So I'm just gonna forward through a lot of this. I did want to mention that if you did not want to make the flowers by hand or the leaves, then of course you could use, you know, flowers from the craft store if you wanted to kind of save some time. I did not show you the flower making process in this video. It just would have been too long. I did want to mention that sometimes I utilize leftover floral wire that's been trimmed from other flowers. Sometimes I'll add them to the flowers if I've cut them too short to make sure that they reach down into that puddle of glue. As you can tell that the surface is getting pretty much covered up. So that's why I did state at the beginning that I was kind of concentrating more on the edges than I was what was going to be in the center of that tray. Okay, so at this point you can kind of notice that the tray is pretty full, and adding the backing is probably going to be a hassle. But I will probably put it on like a plate holder, and E6000 a little bracket on the back of it so I can like put a nail in the wall and hang it up that way. Hi, thank you so much for watching the tutorial. This is the final result. I have it on like a little plate holder. I have it on the second one just because it's a small. And I wanted you guys to see what it looked like, you know, up close and how I'm displaying it. Now, on the back of it, hold on, it's a little crooked. There we go. On the back of it, I'm going to glue. This is what I meant in the tutorial when I said I'll just put it on a plate holder and I can glue. I'll just glue one of those little brackets on the back of it, and you know, you just like a normal picture has a little picture hanger. I was gonna do the ribbon, but I think it's just gonna be a little bit too, yeah, a little bit harder, and I think to be more secure with it being on the wall, I think it would look nice. Or, you know, if someone wanted to just make one and just get one of these little holders, you could probably put it at the bottom one too if you didn't want it. But yeah, that's what they look like this. You can get them at like Hobby Lobby, AC Moore. Wait, AC Moore doesn't exist anymore, guys, sorry. Or Michael's Arts and Crafts. So I'm sorry if I keep looking up here. I'm just used to my camera being up here and it's right here now. So this is the side view. So you can still see a little bit of this. So if it's hanging on the wall, you're still gonna see a little bit of it. And there's that side. And you can kind of tell, I would, if I was going to do this all over again, I would probably gesso the tray, and because you can already see that how I'm touching it a little bit, it's rubbing off. It's not too bad, but you just, you know, just moving forward on my next project, I would recommend probably gessoing it just so the milk paint will stay on it and there's no chipping on it. So yeah, this is the final results, guys. And like I said, thank you for watching, and I hope to have more of these pretty soon, okay? All right, bye.